I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
We are Velocities in Music. On this podcast, Tom and I discuss a crate of topics pertaining to modern music, including artist deep dives and monthly and annual new music wrap-ups. It is time for another vinyl update. Tom and I have been hitting the record stores lately, so today we're going to briefly cover some of the LPs we've picked up in the last few weeks. Before we get started, you can help support Velocities in Music. Subscribe to VIM on your favorite podcasting device to automatically get our latest podcast episode sent to your device each week. Also, Velocities in Music does not want your money. We also don't want to introduce any ads into the podcast yet. Right now, all we want is for you to share Velocities in Music with family or friends whom you think would benefit from joining in on the music discussion Tom and I are trying to create. Today, the talk is vinyl. Tom... We a couple excursions in the last month or so that have really I've been building my record collection here. I'm 3 months into having a legitimate record collection. I think I'm up to like 70 or 80 somewhere in there. No, nothing like the almost 700 records that you have, which still, I mean, some collections out there, some folks have much
thousands,
larger.
Yeah.
And you're well on your way.
I'm getting there, yeah.
So what are some of the records you've picked up?
All right, well, at the record fair in Des Moines we went to a while back, one of the first ones I got was Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links Part 2 on purple vinyl. The price was right for this. You know, it's honestly not one of my more favorite Wu-Tang Clan collective releases, but it's still a pretty darn good one, and for a good price on an album that I've never really seen out in the wild before, I thought it was cool to pick it up. I gave it a spin, and it sounds great. That
record fair was really interesting. It was my first experience at a record fair. You really do have an opportunity to see a lot of stuff that you normally wouldn't see in a store. And man, it was super crowded, though.
It was probably the last one I went to before that was not nearly as crowded. I was not as big a fan.
At that same record store, I found, I believe it's the 2009 repressing of Captain Beefheart's Trout Mask replica, which I actually posted on Reddit.
Yeah.
And some DB that I will not name his username just started accusing me of getting the wrong pressing. But the thing is that if you find Trout Mask replica out in the wild, you buy it.
Yeah. And I mean, you got it for a good price. We can't all spend $100 on an original pressing as long as it sounds good. The next one I got here is the Drifters' Golden Hits. The Drifters was a vocal group from the 50s and 60s. This covers their big hits from 1959 through 1964. They really just had a lot of iconic songs, so if you're into that old school kind of sound, definitely check that one out.
I picked up my first Pink Floyd record. Got Wish You Were Here.
Yeah.
Sounds incredible. I won't say what I paid for it. It's in really good shape. I probably overpaid a little bit for it.
It's all right. I got a repressing of Black Sabbath's Master of Reality.
Nice.
Really good album of theirs. Their third album, I believe. And this one, in not a hugely valuable pressing. It's not it's not really much of a collector's item, but it's an album that I like and I wanted to have.
Nice. Couple, I'm still getting started, so I'm filling out my classic albums, from like the 70s and 80s. A couple that I picked up on this trip was Fleetwood Mac's Rumors, and Neil Young and Crazy Horse. Everybody knows This Is Nowhere. I also picked up Rush's Moving Pictures, which honestly, I gotta say, whatever pressing that I got, it's absolute garbage. It has this hiss to it the entire time.
That's crazy.
And I'm pretty disappointed. So I'm gonna try to find another pressing of that.
Yeah, and then you can resell that one back. Yeah, you swap them out, right? One I got here that's in really good shape. It's not an older pressing, it's a newer pressing of it, but Free Jazz by Ornette Coleman Double Quartet. For those of you who like trippy jazz, this one's got a whole quartet in each ear. Maybe you've listened to it if you're into kind of experimental jazz, but while it's not something I'm going to put on all the time, it's kind of a niche listen. I got to be in the right mood because it's a pretty heady listen. It's one that's really fun to dig into.
At the Des Moines Record Fair at the end of February, probably my find of the day, digging through a bin of just nothing but old records from the 70s and even earlier, I found a copy of Dr. Dog's 2010 album, Shame Shame.
Yeah.
And I got it for $10, which is, in my opinion, a steal. Now, it
for a
doesn't
newer album,
it doesn't sound the best on vinyl, and I think, Tom, as we were talking before today, like, I think that's due to just the mixing of the record. It just wasn't recorded in a way that really was warranted for a vinyl pressing. But still, it's a really nice album to have on vinyl. It's my favorite Dr. Dog record. So.
One other one that I'm going to highlight from the record fair was Love's Forever Changes. That's an album that I absolutely, love. No pun intended, I guess. That just happens to be the name of the band. But that is a classic album, and it's one that I've really liked for a number of years, and always told myself that I would buy it if I found it, and I've just never really seen it. And this was at a fair price and good shape, so I'm really happy to have that one added.
So, earlier this week, Tom, we went and saw Deaf Heaven in Omaha.
Oh, yeah.
And when Tom and I do these like midday concerts, or these midweek concerts, we usually take a day of PTO. Yeah. And we venture early in the morning, grab lunch, and then hit up some record stores before doing a couple escape chambers. And it was time. By the way, with you. Yeah. I'm 4 out of 4 with you on Escape Chambers.
On Escape Chambers, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So let's keep that record going.
Yeah, we gotta get, we always gotta escape, otherwise we'd still be trapped in there.
Right.
We always hit up a few record stores. We hit a few in Omaha. Any of you listeners out there that are from Omaha, we particularly hit Drastic Plastic downtown and Homer's.
Homer's, yeah.
Homer's, I'm just in love with that place. I want to go there every time I go around Omaha. Yeah. What'd you get from Omaha?
Right, I'll kick it off. I got a couple of new pressings of 311. I got Transistor and From Chaos. Transistor is one of my all-time favorite albums, and it was actually just earlier this year reissued for the first time since it was originally released in 1997 to vinyl. So when I found that out, I was like, well, the second I see that out in any store, I got to buy it, and so I did. I'm really excited to see that.
Coincidentally, you found them in Omaha.
I did. Yeah, good point. Where they're from.
If you're going to find 311 anywhere, it's going to be in Omaha.
It's got to be in Omaha, yeah.
I hope you enjoy those records.
Hometown advantage. Yeah.
Play them when I'm not around.
I was going to say, I'll enjoy them more than you. I know that.
I picked up several. I picked up Mutual Benefits, Love Crushing Diamond. I believe that album came out in 2013. It was Mutual Benefits' debut. I freaking love that record and been looking for it on vinyl. So that's a great price for it. I was pretty pleased. I also picked up Lost in the Trees, their third record, Past Life, which I really like.
I got one of my favorite albums from last year, Down in the Get Down, Stay Down, and Man Alive. Didn't think I'd see that one anywhere.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, pretty cool find.
I found one of my must-have records, brand new. The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me. I got this new. It's 180 gram. I think it is a repressing, and it sounds pretty good.
I got a couple I'm going to highlight here, a couple used albums that are newer. I always find, Jake, it's harder to stumble upon albums from, the 2000s that are used. Used albums, usually it's like 80s and before, right? But I got Bonnie Prince Billy's I See a Darkness, which is a pretty iconic album from its time. Late 90s actually, I guess, so not quite 2000s, but around that era. Really good album there. And then also I got Damien Jurado's Maricopa. I actually found out, and that was only $10. That was a good deal on a newer album, used copy of a newer album, that is. But I remember my wife telling me a few weeks back that she'd started listening to his stuff, and I was like, well, that's kind of random. So when I saw that album, I thought, any time that I can justify buying a record as buying it for my wife, that way you can get away with more, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's but some of this money I spent on you, right?
Yeah, I got it for you,
right,
honey.
Yeah, this is our thing,
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I convincing anyone?
No.
Okay.
My quest is to find albums that are on my favorite albums of all time list.
For sure.
And fill that out. I found a number on that trip. I also picked up Elbow's first record, Asleep in the Back, for a pretty good price, like upper 20s, which is around its median on Discogs. But I also picked up Death Cab's We Have the Facts, my third favorite record of all time, Andrew Bird's Mysterious Production of Eggs, and Beck's Odelay, which was a great price for that one.
Yeah. Those you can't say no to. So this next one's one I'm very excited about. And Jake, you actually found this one for me. And I feel a little bit guilty because maybe you should have had this. But I feel really good about it. This is the Smiths' Meet His Murder.
Yeah.
So what's neat about this album is I've always told myself I want to hold out for a US pressing that has the track How Soon Is Now, because the original UK pressings didn't have that. It was added to the album later. But this was a great price. It was $15 for a used copy that's really in good shape. The record itself is in great shape. There's a little bit of scuff on the back of the jacket, but in really good shape for this album that usually when I see it is far more expensive than that. So I thought, you know what, since it's such a good deal, I'll forego my stubbornness and just go ahead and get it. And then when I got home and I was cataloging my new records, I realized, and unbeknownst to me, I just hadn't educated myself enough, but this is a U.S. pressing that has How Soon Is Now. There was just a number of pressings where they didn't include the track name on the back of the jacket, so you didn't really know that it was on there, but on the record itself, it is on there. So when I found that out, I was thrilled.
It was a good find.
Yeah.
That was a good find.
Thank you for that. I'm sorry I stole it from you.
No, I looked at it and go, this is a record that I know Tom wants, and I handed it to you. So I'm glad you found it.
That's fair.
I'm glad you found it. I also picked up M. Ward's Transfiguration of Vincent and found that for $20 new, which is a little bit more than what I think it's listed at median for on Discogs, but whatever. I was really excited about that one. It's one of my favorite records of all time. I also, at the show, picked up, I didn't buy any Deaf Heaven records at the Deaf Heaven show, but I bought their opening band, This Will Destroy You, a post-rock act that we listened to a couple of their records when we were doing our post-rock deep dive last summer, Tom. I picked up their album, Another Language, for a pretty good price, around $20.
I actually don't know if I've listened to that one.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll have to put it on sometime, or just come over and play cribbage with you.
How about you do that? How about you do that?
That sounds like a good deal. A few newer albums that I got Broken Twin, May. This is one that came out a few years ago.
I remember liking that one.
We really liked it, and it's it's kind of an obscure indie pick. Kind of somber female singer-songwriter, but
I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised you went for that one.
The reason I went for it is because I never see it out there, and it's part of the reason I buy records is to remind myself of music that I like that I forget about.
Yes.
And I need to force it to be on my radar. And that's an album that I remember really liking, and it was a very reasonable price, and I just thought, you know what, I want to add this to my collection so that when I'm flipping through my records, I see it and I think, this one would be a good one to put on. That way I listen to stuff that I might not have otherwise listened to. A couple others I'll mention real quick. I got Cross Records Be Good and Wabi Sabi. I was shocked when I came across those.
That was your find of the day.
That was great because, there's not a whole lot of pressings of those out there, but finding both of them together new, I had to get those. You got any left, Jake?
Not from the other day.
Not from the other day?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll finish out with the last couple that I have. I got Sunny Day Real Estate's LP2, which means I now have the first 3 Sunny Day Real Estate records on
Still
vinyl.
Looking for the Rising Tide?
Rising Tide, which is being reissued for Record Store Day.
So you'll have all 4.
So if I can find it on Record Store Day, that's one I'll be looking for.
If there's one, you're going to have to fight me for it.
That's fair. Whoever finds it first.
Get
but
it?
If we find
one.
2... your favorite song from that album.
Yeah.
Your favorite Sunny Day Real Estate song, actually. The last one that I had that I was pretty excited about is for just $10, I got a Japanese pressing of Yes's Close to the Edge.
That's pretty cool.
From 1972.
That was that Drastic Plastic, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it used one there. And it's even got the 2,000 yen on the back of it, on the back cover, saying how much it is. And I'll tell you what, the vinyl on that one, the record itself, is in perfect condition.
That's awesome.
I haven't gotten to listen to it yet, but I'm excited to.
So, quick tangent.
Yeah.
Quick tangent, because you and I are already collecting records differently. I'm only 3 months into this, obviously, so you've had years more experience than I have. But I'm somebody told me that you either are collecting to listen to music or you're collecting to collect. And I kind of see, Tom, you're kind of in the middle there.
Yeah.
I'm definitely collecting to listen to music. Like
Sure.
I'm actively trying to go out and find a lot of my favorite records. A lot of my favorite records are in the newer range, usually from the year 2000 on. So for me to find those, and a lot of albums that came out in like the early 2000s didn't get a vinyl pressing right away. Vinyl hadn't become popular again enough for it to warrant the record company, or especially the smaller record labels, doing a pressing of the album.
Yeah.
So anyways, there's been a lot of reissues. So you're really not going to find used copies out in the wild. You might find new repressings out in the wild, but typically they're going to be pretty pricey. I learned a lesson when we were in Omaha that I'm probably not getting away from like great prices. I'm not going to find great prices on new records every once in a while, but my resolve is too weak. Like I'm going to crack and get some, buy some of my favorite records, and that happened. But one of the strategies that I've been employing is I found a subreddit called Our Vinyl Deals.
Yeah.
And if you are the type of, now I know, Tom, you typically don't like to buy records on the internet.
I just don't really go out of my way to. If there's a great deal and I can't pass it up, then I'll do it, but I don't really look for them.
Great deal is the key word. So what I started to do is I started just tracking all the new posts on Our Vinyl Deals every day. And sometimes I can go weeks without finding a record that I want, but every once in a while someone will post a record that I really want and I'll go pick it up. I've gotten a few of them that way. I got Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City. I got Interpol's Turn on the Bright Lights, Of Montreal, Hissing Fauna, Are You the Destroyer? And I just recently got Coldplay's A Rush of Blood to the Head that way.
Yeah.
Now,
those are good ones.
Yeah. And when I found that what people are doing is they go out and you can search on Amazon and see what the price is on Amazon. Well, the prices on Amazon for that item will change over time. And there's a site out there, and I think there's a few sites like this, but the site that I use is called Camel. You just paste in the Amazon link, and it tells you the price of that item over time, and you can set up alerts so that if the price drops to a certain amount, it will alert you. It'll send you an email. And that's actually how I got Hissing Fauna, is I got an alert that said, hey, this is at its all-time record low price. So I went out and looked and was like, well, I want that album.
Yeah.
I'm going to order it. So I got that for, I think, $17.
Nice.
Which is its all-time low price, and that's shipped to my door, and it's below median on Discogs. So so what I do is I go out and I actually post that on Our Vinyl Deals to try to help other people get the record too. So that's kind of my main strategy for getting some of the newer albums that I'm going after. And I'm curious, like, what other strategies people out there use to find their favorite records, because in this day and age, a lot of the records, I mean, some people are going to be more like you, Tom, and only want to find them in record stores. But the sad thing is that in Ames and Des Moines, like, there just isn't a lot of great record
there's not
stores.
a lot of opportunity.
As always, we'd love to hear what vinyl you guys have picked up lately and why that's so special to you. We'd love to hear your stories of any good record finds that you've had. Thank you guys for your continued support and participation. Tom and I love all of your comments on our YouTube videos, your Facebook messages, and your emails to us. Your participation is what makes Velocities in Music possible. So, as always, thank you for being awesome. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
We are Velocities in Music, moving music discussion forward.